and Brexit. Then I'm going to use Andrew Bridgen and the current situation, just as two examples of where people will feel Nigel Farage was pro-Brexit and was obviously trying to help there, and Andrew Bridgen is now trying to help resolve the vaccine problem. So both of these guys look like strong contenders for people that are on our side, right? Nigel Farage at no point during the Brexit campaign explained that in 1972, Lord Kilmer wrote to Prime Minister Heath and told him that if he signed the ECC, it would surmount to treason, right? The government classified document, FCO 30-1048, that's Foxtrot Charlie Oscar 301048. If you do a Google on that, you'll see the government classified document that has the evidence in it to prove that we never joined the EU. What? Because if I come to house sit your house because you've gone on holiday, can I sell your house?
No.
Can the caretaker sell the school?
No.
Can the manager of McDonald's sell McDonald's?
So you're saying that absolutely just on a basic fundamental level, that whatever the sitting government was had no legal right to sign anything as massive as like, govern me harder, daddy. Here you go, Europe. It's up to you.
Complete. No one, not monarchs, nothing, nobody has the right to sign away your rights as an Englishman to a foreign power. That is an act of high treason and an act of war against the people of England. That is constitutional law. That's not me making it up. That's how it is. And the proof of that then was repeated in February 2001 when Lord Ashbourne, with 40 peers, wrote to the Queen's Secretary and told them that she needed to prevent Parliament from signing the Treaty of Nice later that year because it would surmount to treason because it was handing English rights to a foreign power, Brussels. On the 23rd of March 2001, the Queen's Secretary responded, and I have the full transcript of this. It's in the notice that I send to the establishment when I'm challenging them, the government and that, to prove they have no authority. And they've never been able to rebut it. It's been 6 years, right? And it basically stated there that the Queen is going to she's going to go with Parliament. Now, the monarch's role in England is only one purpose. The monarch's role in England is to ensure that Parliament does not do anything or pass anything that infringes on your rights as English men and women. That's it. There's no other purpose. It's not to bring tourists in or to look fancy or to be traditional. It's none of that nonsense. The only thing it is to ensure that the Constitution is upheld. And that monarch is considered the first amongst peers, right? That's how it's supposed to work. Now, if Brexit had had a campaign where the people were had explained to them that in England, your rights cannot be removed. Doesn't matter which monarch comes into power. Doesn't matter which government comes into power. Your rights, which are termed inalienable rights, because a lien cannot be placed against them, are there from the moment that you're born to the moment that you die. And they are considered granted from above. The Constitution does not grant you the rights. A Constitution simply acknowledges the rights you have as a basis of the fact that your blood flows and your flesh lives. That's it. And the Constitution acknowledges that, right? None of these people had explained to them that in Europe you have human rights. You know, everyone's going on about the EC human rights, ECHR and all that nonsense, right? Human rights are granted by a government. They can be edited by a government. They can be changed, and they can be revoked in an emergency situation like a lockdown. Whereas your inalienable rights can never be muted, never be taken away under no emergency. There's no such thing as emergency powers to take away your inalienable rights as a man or a woman. It doesn't exist. Right? And so if Hitler came into power in the EU tomorrow, they're screwed. So if Hitler came into power in the EU, they're screwed. Whereas if Hitler comes in power in England, in theory, it makes no difference. Because if he tried to pass something that infringed on your right, you'd hold court and nullify it
No,
in real time.
Singh. Sorry, so I've got to stop you there, right? Because I'm actually very au fait with what you're saying, because Graham Moore did a 2-hour presentation about this at our hotel weekender, right? No, not at all.
Perfect.
But now I know that what you're saying is true. I've seen the receipts that Graham bought. I think he's been on the show 3 times now. We like to play devil's advocate, and what we've said to him, because although we want him to be correct, because I know there are people in the comments right now saying the Constitution is the solution. Whenever people start talking about the Constitution, we always
You've got other people in the comments saying it's horseshit.
Yeah, we have a very mixed response, so I have to play devil's advocate. In this brand new world that we're literally transitioning into now, whether it's, we want to call it the 4th industrial revolution, the Great Reset, we're coming to the convergence, the singularity with AI, right? How valid, this Constitution, and I appreciate what you're saying, it's an acknowledgement of an unalienable, I thought it was inalienable or unalienable right, which is granted from above.
Unalienable.
No, what Suk is saying is it's like a lean, Lein,
Right,
unalienable.
okay.
And I totally understand it, right? But here's my thing. We've all seen the dystopian sci-fi movies that seem to be ultra accurate in predicting what's going to come in 5-10 years, where people are literally just being shoved around like meat sacks, and because corporations take over, everything, every law, every rule of the land just seems to get rewritten. How as a single person, when someone with guns and stuff comes up and tries to shove you in a van because you're not complying, how do you use this? Do you understand what I'm saying? In a time, let me rephrase it.
Okay.
In a time of physical tyranny, where everything's out the window anyway, when someone's got a gun to your head, how do you use the Constitution against that?
Perfect. It's a brilliant question, right? Okay. So first thing I want to do is I just want to summarise the English Constitution in a nutshell, right? And it's basically 4 sentences that really are the cornerstones of the English Constitution. And if you'll explain how it protects the aspects that you're talking about, right? So the first thing is your body. And that is protected by, you've heard the term no loss, no harm, no injury, right? You'll have heard that. So where does it come from? That is the Fisher-Price version of the Constitution. It means no loss of property, right, which is protected by private trust law. You've seen all the trust law stuff going around, right? That's why that's happening at this point in time. Because private trusts are how you protect your property from individuals and the government. A proper private trust, which is not registered on the TRS, is not accessible by government. They can't take it. They can't seize it. Okay? That's why trust law exists. Private express trust exists to protect property. So that's no loss. No harm is no harm to mind, no psychological harm, no psychological warfare, no injustice. That's protected by annulment, by trial, by jury. So if you feel that someone or the government is trying to target you, commit psychological warfare against you or harass you, you have access to annulment by trial by jury. That's an independent judiciary, which the people mobilize. It's not government courts. It's independent people, independent process, independent infrastructure, separate judiciary. That's how your mind is protected. And your body is protected with the right to bear arms. Okay? English law states that the right to bear arms is lawful. Now, I accept what you're saying is we've got into a difficult situation now where the tyrannies run riot, right? Where the three divine laws that are there to protect us, trust law, trial by jury, and right to bear arms, those 3 are the 3 laws we need to protect the 3 material ways that we can be attacked in this existence. That's it. That's what the Constitution says. It says that these are your 3 rights, 3 ways you can be attacked. These are the 3 laws that protect you. And if any of these come under threat or your rights have been infringed, You use your assets in your private trust to fund and mobilize the court to get a verdict of due process and due record, and then you form the militia with the right to bear arms to uphold the law. It's a perfect system. And if these three come under threat, there's a fourth law, which is the safety cutout clause. And it's known as Article 61. A lot of people will have heard of it. It's essentially the Restoration Amendment, which says that if those three come under threat, you are lawfully obligated to use the assets in that trust, to use the verdict of the court, to use your arms to uphold the law. That's what the Constitution states. It states that if the government goes tyrannical, as English men and women, you are duty bound to oppose them until the rule of law is restored. That's how you're supposed to use it. And yes, at the moment, if they come with arms and guns and stuff, then we have a difficult decision to be made. But we can die free. We can't live free as slaves.
I've got to big you up, Sook, because you've actually explained it better to me than Graham did when I pressed him. I understand it more now. There is a lot of personal responsibility involved in understanding that answer that you just gave. And I think everyone that's thinking it's not viable, it's not realistic, there's a lot of responsibility in it. And there's a lot of work involved in it.
Definitely, because sovereignty is responsibility, right? If we're going to take and you've hit the nail on the head. I want total autonomy over what I eat, drink, smoke, inject, whatever I choose to do. I want those decisions over my body. I want the decision to love how I want to love, worship who I want to worship. But some people, the idea of having to make those decisions frightens them.
And that brings us back to people that want mummy and daddy state to take care of them.
Totally.
Doesn't matter if you're left-leaning or right-leaning, that the idea of that responsibility is too much for some people because they've been brought up like pussies, essentially.
Yeah, and then that's where Mark Passio comes in. Right?
Yeah, it is. I mean, my missus made a very good point to me when